Fisher built. Fuel tanks are the next generation of fuel tanks on the demolition derby parts market to date. With stainless steel construction, every tank is internally welded, braced, baffled, and pressure tested, with 2 standard size options available.
Fisher built tanks have you covered. From your local county fair shows all the way to your national level events, where you need maximum fuel capacity and structural integrity to get you to the end. If you are in need of a next level design tank, or you just need a second fuel tank for your new setup, give Fisher Built a chance to earn your business. You won't be disappointed. Ladies and gentlemen, Hard Nosed Derby Podcast. Derek, tell them a rap.
Dude, we're on location. We haven't been on location in a minute.
Not since we got these new mics.
Heuer Inc Compound.
Plantation?
Who's slaving?
I don't look like
Who's
nobody
whipping?
today.
We had Mr. Pete on last week. Talk about some demo stuff. Well, it is no secret. Caddy Nation is a 100% all up in Bristol, Tennessee.
First we're getting
week
pretty
of
close to
October.
that fucking show.
A month. A month.
Well, sure as a strip of my car, so I'll be good on that.
So you went from 42 days to like 37 days. And
I've got all week to work on it while I'm in Kansas.
oh, Rob and Trey, what's going on, fellas?
Hard work and dedication.
Clean living.
And lots of it.
Except for this, what you're gonna have to go do as soon as we're done.
Yeah,
that's not real clean living there.
Don't chew your fingernails.
The world can see. You have Mason Larson back on board with you for Bristol.
That's right. Mason I think he was wasn't liking the way the Blizzard Bash thing was going, how things were handled in Kansas. He was a little disgruntled about that, so he eased on out, didn't make a big deal out of it, just wasn't for him anymore. So we picked up Ty and got close, but didn't quite get that done. But then for Bristol, it was more than Ty could do with some of the family stuff he had going on. So our first call was Mason, and he's like, yeah. So there's no one that we could be any more comfortable with than Mason.
Correct.
As far as driving as a team, he's fluid with us. Jake would be another one. Obviously, he's pretty much out of it, especially the harder build. But he's fluid with us as well. But Mason we fit like a glad, well-oiled machine, as Steven might say.
I caught some shit over that, but I was like, man, that's fucking proven. I was like, all those other guys, I'm not saying they're not good drivers and they haven't won individually. I was like, but pound for pound, whenever you put Caddy Nation up against somebody, they've run together so fucking much that they don't drive together.
Cohesiveness.
Yep.
You could be the baddest dog in the yard,
but you might not mesh with who's on your team.
Correct.
Like, you can put 4 great drivers on a team and doesn't always equal a great team.
No,
and you're going to see that at Bristol. You're going to get to see that. I don't give a shit what anybody says, all these badass drivers and stuff, because there's guys that haven't been on the track together that are running together. They don't know each other's drive style. Mm-hmm. They don't know each other's. They don't know how they're going to fit together.
Yes. You were one of the original. What's the wording I need? Charter owner.
Yeah, that's right.
Knowing how long you have been in the sport and how it's being passed down, to Trey, and now your son-in-law Ryan is running as well. Was that something that you just knew in your heart that that's what it needed to happen to try to move this sport, keep going forward?
It wasn't just Trey and Ryan. And it's not just the young generation. It takes so much finances to put a competitive car together and go to these big shows. And putting the car together is just a drop in the bucket of what it takes to being away from work a week, and then what it takes: fuel, stay, food, your lodging. Heaven knows there's some beer involved in that as
Soda
well.
Waters.
But it just takes so much money to run at that level. And when I was approached with this idea and really the whole idea for me was what I was sold on was, and it'll work or it won't. Hopefully it does work. Is if that we can get some corporate money in it. I don't think anyone's getting rich building derby cars or driving them, running big shows. But if we can just get to a point where we can get some relief for some of these guys that are showing up to these big shows on a competitive, being competitive and showing up. If we can just get a little money in there, and I'm not talking huge money, but just something that kind of can at least get them at their travel and whatnot. That's kind of how, to me, that's a success.
The entry fee is easy. And I've told everybody that. They're like, well, such and such signed up for that show. I said, that's the easy part. Building a car in the shop that you've built 70 cars out of, that's easy. Getting the truck and trailer that will make it 12 hours.
Each way.
Yeah. The room to stay in while you're down there. The mobile shop that you're going to have to take with you to run a show like that. Because you're not running once. You're not just going to go down there and run one time. That shit's going to have to be fixed.
Not.
Right. Well, I done told you I'm okay if I junk mine in the heat. I'll put it on trailer and drink beer this weekend. My teammate's not liking that I'm saying that, but
no, she'll beg to differ on that.
I told her, I said, you drive like you're going to win, I'm going to drive like it's time to drink beer.
Meet you halfway.
But that's what he's talking. I mean, the stuff that you do at home for a county fair is easy. That's the shit that you do in your normal everyday to day. You get off work, you can come home, take around the shop and stuff. But you're building these bigger show quality cars and traveling to this, you got to take a pit crew with you. And if you're asking somebody to work on a car all weekend, well, you're going to have to pay $1,400 to stay down there too. And then don't forget it's going to cost you $600 to eat. You got $800 in fuel there and back. So you give me your $3,000 that you saved up for vacation, you come down and you work on my car all weekend. You can't do that. You can't expect somebody to do that.
Doesn't make sense.
I don't think, there's so much, I'm just going to say it, there's a whole lot of backlash, keyboard warriors, whatever, man, I can't believe you, this much entry fee and it's only, paying back, somebody said it on the trucks the other day.
Because they don't take a fucking truck.
Okay. Well, it's
Go
only
run for $100,000.
Pays your entry fee is $300 and you're only running for $500 for third. Well, Jason Kinman said, why are you going to run third?
Yeah, if you're showing up for third, you ought to go do something else. Go play golf.
Stay at the fucking house.
Well, I'm just showing up for fun, so where's that leave now?
We've never claimed you to be brilliant, ever.
But you don't see me sitting around bitching about spending money to go down there either.
No.
Or that the show's happening, because I don't know. As long as there's something going on, there's going to be somebody that's got something negative to say about it. People are scared of what they don't understand.
They are, and it takes a lot less energy to be negative than it does positive. That's just unfortunate. That's the world we live in. And I was, we talked about it going into it that there, maybe a little bit of backlash because it's something different, and I didn't think there was going to be that much. But
I've seen some of that backlash on the driver's list.
Yeah.
Anybody can say what they want on that. I mean, I know I'm not the only one that looks at that stuff, but I've seen some negative comments that come out when all this shit dropped, and now they're in these hypothetical matchups.
Yeah, there's some of that, and some that if they didn't have some other stuff would have come back around to it. But and part of it probably was just it's never been done before. So yes, could be some improvements. There's some things that could be done different. Going forward, all you can do is better. There's things that maybe a ball got dropped here or there, but it's never been done before to just like this. So, we're kind of learning as we go. But I think at the end of it, it's going to be turn out well. It's going to be a great show.
There's nothing ever been done at this level. You guys have won Blizzard Bash Limited Worlds
3 or 4 times.
3 or 4 times?
Yep, 3 or 4 times.
And, and you've ran it under Smash It. You've ran it under Ultimate Derby. You guys support Ultimate Derby stuff. You support the Smash It stuff. But no matter what happens, this is still something.
It's different than both of those.
Correct. This is on... People keep saying, well, it's on a whole different level. It is. And it's not just because it is the $100,000 to win your fucking class.
The format's different, first of all.
Correct. We've always wanted to talk. Blizzard Bash needs to be 1v1. You want to find out the true champion, 1v1.
That's how it needs to be, because that way...
Takes politics out of it.
1 or 2 teams doesn't put a super team together. That's no fun for the guy that's the 5th team out, and he's got to run against a super team that in their own rights are all great. Every team is great, but then you put 3 or 4 of them together and try to make it through there. That'll break your will as much time and energy as you put into them.
We talked about.
That's why King of Ohio was cool. Like when we went up there and watched that shit was cool. Like. The whole 6 cars on the track, you could only run against 3 of them. I still don't know how I feel about that. I'm still on the fence about it. I told Dustin that.
That's kind of funky. It's different.
They speed it up.
I told him, I was like, this is, because I'd be the one out there be like, what the fuck? I'm sorry, I knocked the wheel off. I apologize. Let me get back on my side. I'm sorry. I got confused. I didn't know what was going on. But because it did get a little fucked up there for a second in a couple of those. Like, I was watching, I'm like, I don't think he's supposed to be over here. And they were just stroking his head like this dude in the corner, and he just wanted out because he's like, it's like my fight. And he's getting just overhauled in the corner. He couldn't get out. I was like, I don't know if maybe you gotta rethink that. Maybe throw some blocks down the center.
Yeah, it's like a swimming pool. You stay on the deep end.
But no, I mean, that's the... And then you get a lot of the guys that say, the only way to do it is the 1v1 to figure out who is the baddest that week. And then everybody's like, well, you don't have time. So you guys are going to be running 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th if everything works correctly.
Correct.
Wednesday,
Friday,
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, that's right.
So... how this is going to work, if you win on Thursday, well, you're still in the winner's bracket until Thursday. And if you pull out another one,
you're still in the winner's bracket.
You're still in the winner's bracket. So imagine that poor bastard who draws whoever or has shit luck and blows a motor, dumps a transmission, and knowing you've got to go through the consi, putting a motor in one guy's car, putting a transmission in another guy's car, pulling the other one's teammates down and out, and we understand that everybody is so competitive, especially if you're going to this level and what you're dedicated that you want to fix. But when does your brain overcome your balls to say, you know what, this is a losing cause?
Tuesday when you get home. You unloaded off the trailer. Well, I probably shouldn't have done that.
Hindsight's always 20/20. No, we're right. You got to. I mean, I think everybody there's got to almost got to. You got to at that level. You got to have the mentality. We're running through all of them.
Yeah, well, you've got to prepare for that.
You have to prepare
sure.
for that. Yeah, and it's not being arrogant or cocky. That's just what That's what hopefully everybody's going for, not just us. I mean, I know what we're going for, and I'd like to think everybody else is in that same boat. But
well, you don't. So you're saying you don't ever load your cars? You're like, man, I'm gonna go get second tonight.
Absolutely not.
I'm gonna put this bitch in the top 3 tonight.
Looking for a podium now.
I'd like to pull out a 5th. But no, if you're doing that, leave the motherfucker at the house.
Yeah, no doubt.
So, we have talked. Demo has a board of directors. That board
He
has
pays attention to this. I have not.
the board is the governing body over demo. Certain few people are on that board who have got voted in to be on said board. It's kind of like an overseeing to make sure everything kind of stays in order, as such as rules, not let the rules get all the way out of hand. All you guys are talking amongst yourselves. You're on that board.
I am. I am. That's a lot of hours of my life I'll never get back.
And it comes right back into that. Probably why you accepted on that board is to try to make this thing work.
You're right. I'm invested in it. A lot of guys are invested in it, so I'm going to do everything I can within my power to make it successful. Just like anything I'm going to be a part of. If I'm going to be a part of it, I want it to be as successful as it possibly can. And I'll put the work in, the time and the work in to, along with the other guys, Chad and some other guys that are in there too. We'll do the tough work behind the scenes to try to make this thing, if at all possible, succeed.
Now, I know you and myself had kind of talked at a couple other shows in the recent past. How do you like... Fuck it. The rules.
Let me tell you about the rules. Well, when you got the Midwest guys, they've got something that they want, and then you got the East guys. They're used to their rule set. Try to bring those two together is really, really rough. Which that's what we did, and everybody seemed to be, us agreed upon them pretty good. But then once you get into them, you're like, holy smokes, we thought we had this all covered. And what I realized is it takes probably one good cycle to really, we thought we had, honestly, I took pride in thinking we had the perfect set of rules. But then once we got into it, then even the inspector asked a question or two, somebody else asked a question or two, and we go, oof. How did us as a collective whole, how did we not do it just a little bit tighter? They're good, but just a little bit tighter. But I think it's going to take a cycle to get, and if everybody says, hey, it's fine, then heck, it's fine. But if there's a few things here or there that probably should have been cleaned up, but it is what it is, and it happens at every show. And until you've been involved in it and seen it, it's kind of like being an official. And an official could be whether you're flagging a derby or if you're an umpire or whatever it is. Until you've been on the field or on the berm making those calls, you have no idea what it's like until you do it just one time.
No, I need to keep your mouth shut. And I've said that from the word go. Like, go do it better. Like, I messed up. Sorry.
Yeah. Any official in any sport, we're all human, and we're calling it as we see it. And no one's out there to screw the next guy, whether it be derby or there again, baseball, whatever. But at the same time, you got to take it out of the official's hands, whether you're on the track or if you're on the, on the field, whatever it is. Don't just beat them by 1 point, so you get one bad call, you lose. You beat them by 10, you hang 10 on them.
Yeah.
You take it out of their hands. You don't say, I think I got the last hit. You make that. You get the last 3 hits.
Yeah.
Take it out of their hands.
And then if they call it bad on that, you've got a leg to stand on.
That's right.
But, and this is a discussion that's been had, I would say, probably since Demolition Derby has started, is rules. And I don't know that there will ever be a perfect set of rules because of everybody's different interpretation of the way rules are written. And I think you're going to deal with that forever. I mean, because everybody, it don't matter how bulletproof a set of rules are, somebody's going to try to find a way to read into them or above them or through them or whatever. And then you're going to have people that just build and show up. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's a thing too.
Yeah, and part of that's how dedicated you are. Do you go the extra mile to be to be the best. There's a lot of guys who said it. They're not going to get outworked in the shop. They're not going to get outworked in the pits. And a lot of derbies are won. There's 3 parts of that: the shop, the pits, and the track. And it takes all 3. You got to excel at all 3.
What did Pete say last week? In the derby, he said Bristol will be won in the pits.
In the pits. Plain and simple.
He said he thinks it will be who's got the best crew that's got the best ability to get a car back together to get it back on the track.
There's something to be said that at every show where you have to put them back together. If it's not one and done, there's something to be said for that. Yeah.
Now, you and I spoke the other day. You got your boy sitting next to us, who likes to dive into that rule set. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To dissect it a little bit farther, find some of those little areas where he can push a little bit more on, you know, his build or your all's build, both of you.
Is that how you end up with the whole front end up easy?
You went there. That's on you. That's on you.
I got a couple Snapchats. I was like, man, I thought you built that thing at home.
I did it twice.
But, you know, how does, with the policing and demo, how does that kind of come into play? Do you got to look at him and say, Trey, we got to try to back it down a little bit? Just
see
to
how that works.
correct. I mean, you know, he's willing to
Yeah.
take the whole fucking car apart in a day.
Yeah.
But when you're going to that new, that level, that policing,
And after you get through answering this, nobody has talked about that at all yet. We need to talk about that a little bit too, about the fines and shit.
Well, the thing is, I don't think that's going to be much of a thing. I don't think, but it's going to be on everybody's. We got that worked out. Old Dad ain't covering that. You know, this show's really no different than a lot of the other shows. Don't do anything you can't fix. Don't do anything inside the frame. Don't do anything you can't fix. We got great inspectors. Not to say that somebody couldn't get loaded, but you're gonna. I think you may not like the fix if you step way out of
there will
line.
be an option.
But I really think there's going to be an option. Probably not one you're going to like, but that should have been thought about before you do something
And
that crazy.
That's whenever we talked to Chance, whenever he cut the whole top of his frame out.
Yep.
You know, that's how they told him that he could run because he was capped, you know, so he got the top of the frame out. Like you said, it might not be something you like, but there is an option.
Right. And then that's going a little deeper though too. And I'm not throwing Chance Great guy, I'm not throwing him under the bus. When you cap something, there's no way, shape, or form that was in any type of the rule. You know? If you
There wasn't.
misconstrued-
No, he
yeah,
like,
right.
no,
he said it.
hasn't
Yeah.
made no beef.
Yeah.
He's like,
Yeah.
I tried it, I got caught, and it is what it is.
Right. Don't be mad at the official. Just you laugh it off and say, yeah, the guys they were on it that day.
but I don't
That's what it
think,
was.
in the policing part of that, I don't think anybody's going to have to worry about a fine playing in a gray area.
Absolutely not.
And I think you guys as a board and working with Dustin Ingram as the director and Austin Johnson and Michael Zerr and the other guys that are coming with them, I don't think that's an issue because that's that rule interpretation. I think what they're really worried about is the capping.
The all-out cheating.
Correct. Not the interpretation, the flat blatant, you cheated. So is there that option to fix that blatant cheating? Unless you pay that fine and then they give
Depends
you
on
that
if it's
option.
justified or not. There's a gray area in the question.
We got to get this show off the ground before we got to get some under our belt and show what we can do. I don't want to take the fear or any of that away from it, but I just don't see, that people get all worked up about a fine, this, that, and the other. That's not. I don't see that happening. From what I've been involved in, I really don't see that's going to be a deal. I mean, the big thing is what I think is going to be a problem is guys that don't bring cars, or if they don't put them on. I think the fine's going to come when you sign up for a big ticket deal like this. And demo is an organized sport. It's not just your regular old derby. So when you sign up, you're signing up saying we're going to have 4 cars because we're affecting the show. We're affecting the entertainment value by not doing it. So you bring 4 cars and you get them on the track, and there would be no problem. That's the bottom line.
Well,
You show up with 3 or you get 1 loaded. Okay, that's problematic. And you're probably not going to get 1 loaded. You're probably going to load it yourself because
Right.
you're stepping out of bounds and then not wanting to fix it. That's kind of on the builder himself or the driver.
Well, driver safety,
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to put them on trailer.
yeah, just don't get too far out of balance, and I think everybody have a car on the track.
And like I said, I want it to work. That's why I signed up, because I can tell you right now, I didn't really give two shits to drag a car to Tennessee, but I mean, it's happening.
But you love Tennessee.
I do love Tennessee. Hell, I might just stay. But I mean, there needs to be cars there. There needs to be bodies there the first year, just to show everybody what it's going to be, what it can be. I think it's the right direction.
I think so. And the second part of that is going to be, can you truly get corporate sponsors in this hillbilly sport? You know, it's possible, but that's to really make it work.
If they can get some of that label pulled off, they can.
Yeah. But
The dumbass rednecks.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that label, that stigma.
I mean, if you're going to a derby every weekend and going to jail, this probably isn't the show for you.
right. And those guys, for the most part, probably aren't building
They're
to
not.
that level.
They're not. I'm just saying, you know, like that. Because if you've got Milwaukee on the side of your car, and your brother-in-law runs out of the stands and tries to beat the shit out of an official
With a Milwaukee Impact.
with a Milwaukee Impact, and he's got a Milwaukee hat on with your number and shit on the shirt, like that's probably not the step that we're trying to take.
Yeah. You probably at that point you'd be better off going fishing.
Yes, 100%. Camping, the sport's not.
Yeah.
The sport's not for you.
Right. Because it is at a high level.
Well, that's where the label comes in.
Well, it sure does. Yeah. But no, the hope trying to get the sponsors in, and hopefully that's what we're looking for Dustin to do, and I think that's going to be his strong suit, and we're looking for him to pull him in, and he's going to do everything he can to get him in. Can he? Let me just say, the economy's not the best, so hopefully our timing isn't off on it, because the economy's just not the best.
But you watch out for any bigger corporation. You know, the corporate money you're talking about. They're always looking for the next big thing. And usually they're willing to take that opportunity and you know, they're trying to run with it.
Yes.
Because it may be the next, you know, oh shit, you know, we were front line in on this, and then that's better advertisement for them down the road.
For sure.
Yeah.
And you might not get the big side of things, you know, the first time, but you've got their name on it.
Right. And Rome wasn't built in a day. You're not going to get a $10 million. I mean, let's be realistic. You got to start. Rome wasn't built in a day. You got to start small, work out. But you know, we're getting some in. It's just, and hopefully that'll turn into something bigger and bigger. And at that point, that's when my vision of being able to get travel money to the guys. That's, to me, that's a success. And that's not $50,000 a piece of travel to show. That could be $2,000 each, because that's, you know,
Because you got a sticker on the side of your toter.
Yeah.
You know, that says, you know,
Driven racing.
Yeah, or whatever. You know, something like that. You know, Fig Newton on the windshield.
That's right.
You know, because at Ohio, after we came back and then we talked to Dustin again, you know, he even said the guys that were at the King for driven racing oils, they were like,
We had no clue.
yeah. So they were on the phone with the execs, like, hey, this is
legitimate. Like,
this is something that they want to stick with.
And K&N air filters, you know, with
Yes.
Rutherford and them. Like, after they seen everything that went on out there, they were like, yeah, I don't know why we didn't do this a little bit sooner. I mean, everybody watched where you finished. You know, K&N air filters on the side of the car, because the crowd was there. I mean, the internet crowd was there, you know, watching the streaming and all that stuff. I think at some point you've got to look at any exposure is good, you know, good for business. I mean, if there's people
I
watching
think so.
and looking at your name,
The only scary part is this politically correct world we live in. You know, even as we've taken this thing to a little more professional level, you know, we're still humans and we're still been doing the same old stuff.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
oh yeah, and yeah, I mean 100%. But you take the Derby community, it won't take like they're not used to, you know, what a football player would get for endorsing Nike or something like that. You know, if Lucas Oil gave them a case of oil, they're like,
Right.
I've made it to the big time, boys.
Yeah. That's right.
Hold on, that case is full synthetic.
Yeah, son of a bitch, I'm a race car driver.
Said, I made it.
Full synthetic 2050.
They threw a hat in there too and a sticker. I
And a sticker.
Yeah, we're still waiting on a Busch Light to come around.
I think you're in the wrong state.
Probably so.
Because I think if maybe you guys said you were from Iowa, that might happen.
Or maybe Svedka vodka or something like that.
there you go.
A Big D.
No, I'd take anything right now. I just take whoever makes that vodka that's in the plastic jug and just says vodka on the side of it. I'll take one of those.
Well, we just talked. We're roughly 30 days. How is your all's build process going? Because usually right now you guys are building for Blizzard Bash. We're going to say that.
Right.
And we know that those rules from 2023 that you guys ran to the build that you're running at Bristol, not real close to each other.
It's not. Honestly, there's probably 2 more weeks in it, you know. And of course, the way they shifted the rules, which I didn't agree on, and I wish Tim all the success.
There'll still be a show out
It's going to be a show. It's still going to be Topeka. I said at the end of it, one of us is going to be right and one of us is going to be wrong. And for you, I hope I'm wrong. But the way it's looking, it's not. But you know what? I think he'll get it back though. You can make changes as long as you don't live and die by. What you do. It's your. Those
If you
guys
can
own
admit
it,
that
it's
you were
yours.
wrong, and if you were wrong and you can admit that you were
Right,
wrong, you can fix it the next year.
Shift gears and change, and whatever it takes to get it. But I would go out on a limb and say that's going to be a $100,000 win show next year. I'll just mark me down as saying I think that's where that's headed. And I don't know why he would go to that, but I'm pretty sure that's what's going to happen. And at the end of the day, whether we run Bristol again next year or we don't, we can say we had our hand in getting some money to the drivers.
And you might be able to take an actual Sherman tank out there.
Well, possibly. As long as it's not pre-ran.
So let's talk about that.
The Sherman tank?
No, not the Sherman tank. We're
Fresh
not
tanks
talking about the
only.
Sherman tank. That was something that we spoke with Pete about. What would it take to get all the promoters kind of on the same page? The national level promoters. We're not talking
Everybody to put the tape measures up.
We're not talking about.
Trying to figure out whose dick's bigger.
Well, what'd he say? All got the 3-inch hangers, so it shouldn't be that anymore. But would you feel comfortable on the level of like these national builds where you can allow a pre-run, where all the promoters kind of get together as not so much an organization, but on the level of agreeance?
Yeah, but they're like, and I think Pete, the way Pete was, or the way I understood it, is he was talking like your first big show. Say Bristol was in the spring, fresh cars. Well, and then any show affiliated with that was running the same rule set, you got to run a pre-run. So it would be like like Capital Carnage or the predecessor to the main show of the year for that organization. Then you'd be able to run your car at every show after that they had across the country. Run that pre-run instead of having to have a fresh car at Carnage and a fresh car at Gold Rush and a fresh car at wherever.
Yeah, I think the big shows they're going to have to move toward that because there's too many of them now and they're all great. I think the demo thing's going to be great. I think everything Sam does is great, and I think what Tim's doing is great. And I've said it last year, even before demo came along. One show doesn't have to fail for another to be great. One promoter doesn't have to take second fiddle for another to be great. There's tons and tons of drivers out there.
They act like it does.
You would think, but for every time I hear someone say that's why the sport's dying, watch John Muse's snap story, and you tell me if Demo's dying. Demolition Derby is not dying. It's alive and well. It's thriving.
No, actually, I think he's still looking for employees.
I think he is. He needs more employees, more shippers.
Yep.
But no, but I think, I even had a talk with Dustin last week. I'm like, we can't. There's no way you can build three fresh cars like this a year and keep your sanity. No way.
Would want to.
You wouldn't. There's no.
Not to that
It
level.
would kill. It would kill the drive that you had for the sport.
It does. Yeah, because This thing's about. I'm getting old, but this thing's talking about got me whooped.
Well, and
I ain't as good as I once was, but I was good once. Whatever it was.
And I mean that's how that works. Like you've said several times, Derby's won in the shop. You know that's part of the process. But if you're living in that shop and you don't get to go do anything else fun, and it's for that one night, or that weekend of that 1 month that you've built 3 months on all these cars, nobody's gonna want to do that.
One of the greatest Derby drivers on this planet. He didn't tell me personally, he told somebody else. He said, you're only going to be great at one thing at a time in your life. You're going to be a great dad. You're going to be a great basketball coach. You're going to be a great demolition derby builder, driver. You can do a lot of things good, but you only be great at one at a time. And that speaks volume. And that's hard truth right there.
Well,
and that's as a husband and all that. You can't,
yeah.
I'd like to think I'm pretty good at a lot of things, and maybe I am pretty good at it, but I'm sure I could do a lot better at a lot of other things, but this shit is consuming.
Well, anybody can say what they want, and I'm talking from the stock class all the way up to the mod class. You are completely absent the week before a show. I don't care if the car's been done for 2 weeks. Whenever you get off work or whatever you're doing, the week leading up to that show, you are checking everything, making sure everything's right, loading the trailer, getting everything ready. Well, where do you think something else is lacking?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. And it takes a great spouse, great girlfriends, great, boyfriends for the gals that are doing it. It takes understanding people in your life to do it to this level. Because it's, a few years ago when they started throwing the lifestyle thing around, you go, yeah, but it's a lifestyle. It's a real thing.
Well, looking back and when you got into this, I don't think anybody could ever comprehend that there's going to be this amount of national level shows for what it's paying. It's
been in the last 3 years.
Yeah, nobody's ever. I don't think anybody ever would have consumed that this is what's going to happen.
No, that right there is why Demo is capitalizing on that, because everybody is bringing that to that national level in quotations. Why not start getting some sponsors doing it? I mean, if everybody's going in the direction where they're not running their county fairs anymore and they all feel like they're on a national level, it's time to create a circuit. It is time to build this into a household sport.
I agree. And with that comes the money, hopefully, to help you get there and ease the family checking account so you can go play with cars.
Agreed, but you're still going to have to be good at what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Because if you go out there and you're getting 6th to 10, yeah, you might get some trickle down sponsor. But if you're going out there making 3 hits, or your shit won't run when it pulls off the trailer, nobody's gonna want their name on the side of that.
It ran awesome when it loaded in the trailer.
Bullshit.
But one of the things is, when we run some local stuff, and guys probably hate to see that. It is what it is. But as you do run the bigger shows, that does pull some of the competitive guys out of the local stuff. So that
it gives an opportunity for some kid that didn't want to get his ass kicked every weekend by 4 guys that are fucking Blizzard Bash winners.
It just does. It gives those 18-year-old guys, it lets them get some head of steam and get some wins under them, get some confidence, gets a little money in their account from winning.
And they're going to get better.
And they're going to get better because of it.
But how's this going to help my local county fair? Well, it will.
When you don't have 4 Blizzard Bash drivers that have been winning, not just driving Blizzard Bash, but winning Blizzard Bash, going to a local show, kicking the shit out of it.
Well, you don't think they're going to run together at the hometown show just as much as they would have at Blizzard Bash? Yeah, they're going to.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen, and that's what it is.
You can be 5th. Well, that's awesome. All right, we're going to load up tonight, boys. We're going to get 5th.
There was some good competition there, though.
Well, pull that shit out of there. Give them something to go do to get away from you.
Yeah. But at the same time, the guys that run the big shows, that doesn't mean they shouldn't run their small shows too. I mean, we've took crap for not running the small shows a few years, and then when we run the small shows, then we take crap because we're running the small shows.
You're killing me. You can't show up no more.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody coming to my derby.
Yeah, but then when you don't show up, it's like, you can drive 4 hours and support them, but you can't drive 15 minutes and support me. I'm like, I can't. I wish I could do it all right.
What are the rules?
They bitch if their ice cream is cold.
That's right.
But everybody keeps asking how this is going to help the local stuff, and that right there is a prime example of how it will help.
That's the biggest way it's going to help right there. That if those guys are off building cars to run for $100,000 or even $20,000, whatever it is, going to run someplace else, if that pulls them out of the local shows just to get those younger cats some wheel time and some,
I don't see the issue with it.
It's not. There is no issue. You know, and if it's not for you, where I come from, if it doesn't affect you, shut up. It doesn't affect you.
Hold on. You mean you can see something that you don't agree with, and you don't have to speak on it?
I don't have to speak on it. If it doesn't affect me, I'll just drive right on by.
Well, one thing that we talked about with Dustin, the charter owners, there's going to be 3 shows next year. He said that. You know, he told us it's not a secret, and they haven't really been announced of the other one because we know King of Ohio, that'll be in 2025, we hope. Bristol in 2025, we hope. Then there's going to be another one that has not been announced yet, and he hasn't even told us. So guys, don't ask. We can fucking tell you. Is that more exciting for you that you get to kind of get away from your realm? And I mean, I understand that Bristol nobody's ever done Bristol. That's not there. But you know, you've done the Pecatonic.
Well, we're going to have to reel it back toward Missouri a little bit.
Way back.
You know, being able to maybe spread out a little bit more to try something
cars.
new, to try it, you know, running against different guys. Does that kind of put some pep in your step? A little bit?
It does. Man, just all the time we put into this, personally, the time I put into the behind the scenes stuff, and then the time I put into this car is just about damn near took the wind out of myself. So I'm looking forward to the Bristol and not just the driving, the hard work and all the stuff, but all the camaraderie and all the stuff that goes on. I say this all the time, the Demolition Derby gets us there. It's all the brotherhood that happens when you're there.
That's what I'm talking
That's where it's at.
Yeah.
It just
I joke about that, like junking my shit in the heat and loading on a trailer. But like, I mean, if it happens, it happens.
Right.
Because I will drink beer the rest of the week.
And it's going to be a good time. Win, lose, or draw, we're going to have fun. It's going to be epic. Win, lose, or draw, it's going to be epic.
That's why I
we're
always
going
had-
to win.
Right.
But we're going to have fun.
But that's why I always had fun out at Blizzard Bash. You know, I mean, yeah, it was like the Derby and stuff was awesome, you know, and it was fun to watch all that. But I had a lot more fun in the pits than I ever did in the stands.
Speak for yourself, Steve.
He's getting double birds if y'all couldn't see this.
Both times I went out there, the transmission go out and finished 12th. That's real.
That's
real
intense.
honorable.
Yeah.
Honorable mention.
Yeah.
I've just never been drunk there.
Yeah,
And I don't know how many
I
times.
never got any
You
participation
have,
trophies.
which I know there's videos of Rob taking a nap in the seats. I know
Yeah.
there's
I've got
video
on my phone,
of Teddy taking a nap in the seats. So spending the amount of time that you guys have to get those things back in order, that's a little bit of a change for you because the prior Blizzard Bash stuff you guys ran on Saturday morning.
Yes.
You run your heat Saturday morning. If you got through, you're good to go. Then you came back Sunday afternoon. Last year when you went, they threw an extra day at you. That threw you a little bit of a curveball. So now it's all the days. So is that a big change?
It's a huge change because we won't go to bed till everybody's, not just my car or Trey's car, Ted's, whether it be Mason, Ty, whoever. We're a unit and we don't stop until they're all ready to go. I mean, we may button up the hoods down in the morning, but we're not going to bed going, well, we got to get up in the morning and change that transmission, or our stuff's in order before we leave. And if that's 7 in the morning, it's 7 in the morning if we just sleep an hour or two, because
We've been talking about it since we've been talking about all the team shows coming up, that I feel like that changes everybody's mentality a little bit. I'm not saying extreme, but a little bit whenever it comes to fixing cars and stuff, because it's not just for you anymore. You got 3 other guys that are counting on you to make sure that somebody's back out there on the track. That way you all go in
right,
locked and loaded instead of,
100%.
Yeah.
So no, this is going to be different for us because we've never ran we ran single mods out there back before they were to this point, but we've never had to put them together three times. Run them, put them together, run them, put them together, run them, put them back together. So this is huge for us. But in all honesty, usually when we go, it's just when Mason will bring, he's got a couple guys he brings with him, and they're all animals just as he is. Trey may have one guy kind of stop in and help. Ted may have one. We may share one. But for the most part, we really pack light and get a lot done in one day. But this is the first time we've ever had to pull guys together. I got some coming from up around Wisconsin, Minnesota area to help. Some from around here, just different areas. Some from Iowa that's going to show up, and of course we got to have a place to stay and all that good stuff as well. If you're asking them to take off work and go play with cars with you,
Yeah, well, just running that stock class, I'm taking 2 people with me. You're gonna have to work on it. For a fact.
Yeah.
Are you saying to me right now that you're not going to get a stick the first trip through?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
I think I will.
Hold on. Make sure he's not in the shop last before it gets loaded.
Yeah. How'd that happen?
Why'd them fingers get welded? Fucking Trey! Well, let's change it up a little bit.
Talk about Gold Rush a little bit.
That's right. We had to make a
Yep.
qualifying show a couple weeks ago.
It was a hell of a heat.
Somebody made it through. And I have not known you guys to back down from a challenge ever since I've known you. So I'm guessing somebody is finishing a Bristol car and then turning around and building a Gold Rush car for the National Wheelman Qualifier as well.
I don't know. We'll see how far along we are. That's a long ways to go.
There's that question. Sure would be nice to take pre-runs.
It's late. I know it's not late, but it's late.
Oh yeah.
To be qualifying for that.
So just think, Metal Mayhem is the last week of September.
With a full-blown, full-tilt,
Yeah.
100,000 win car for Bristol to be built. Or, that's in the process.
Yeah, it seemed 6 months ago, it seemed a lot easier than it does now.
Well, yeah, I've been talking about it on this podcast for 6 months, and I'm like, man, I probably ought to push that something to the shop. We've talked about it enough.
Yeah, so, Trey and Ted both got their spots, but I don't know if it's going to be harder to get the spot or harder to build a car to get there.
Signing up's always the easiest part.
Which your teammate?
Which you should have punched your ticket already, but we can talk about that later.
I fucked that up, huh?
But I know Ted had signed up for the one and done up there.
It wasn't just Ted.
It wasn't just Ted.
Well,
I think there's 3 spots bought.
I just didn't know, because usually if you guys sign up for something, you go.
I know, I'm struggling with that right now. And I keep saying, one more week, if I can get this car done in a week, I can still make this happen. And in a week, I still got a week's worth. Every week, when I do a week, I still got. It's just.
I need another week. I need another week.
We got them heading in the right direction. Bodies are on them, cages in them, motor training's pressured in. So we got them heading in the right. But there's a lot of fine tuning on all that.
Well, their car's not done until it's unloaded
Right.
and got a stick on it.
We all 3 are running those UD transmission solution braces. That's something different for us. That's all a little different.
Cool. They're neat.
So that's something different with your setup that throws you in. Something just a little bit different, but they're all in, and contrary to belief or whatever, that you can actually put the body on one with that brace in there. That's proven fact at this point. I know that was a lot of guys were saying that couldn't happen, but it most definitely can happen. It can happen in a Cadillac with a small tunnel. You can get them in there. It's work. It's a challenge, but
it will fit.
Yeah,
But on the mod side, every mod builder or driver what do they not want to do? They don't want to cut the tunnel out of it. Ever. Don't want to cut the tunnel out
Yeah,
of it.
crossing around the tunnel.
Yeah, so now you are getting a product, who I did talk to Chris the other night at
Yeah.
Macon about it.
You can keep your pressure.
Yes.
And you can change the tranny theoretically, and even at the track in an hour and a half instead of a 6 or 7 hour deal. Trying to out and get it all out and get the cross member out and then get it all back in with any kind of pressure at all, or even just getting it back in is just, or you just got at that point usually just got the tunnel and everything. You just go, no pressure, but with cars running, or you just can't get it back like it was. So. And there again, it's like changing it's like changing a tranny in a stock car. Easier than changing a tranny in a stock car at this point. And hopefully that's not a problem. Usually, knock on wood, it's usually not a problem. But running them 4 times, the thought of laying on the ground there and doing that even once is kind of overwhelming.
Remember that time at Blizzard Bash when everybody broke all the transmissions?
3 out of 4, yeah.
Broke 3 in 1 week in one car.
3 in about 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And there again, we were doing something a little different then.
Yeah.
And that's back when that's when Lightwell was lighter than street stock is now. Yep. And honestly, I'm ready for this. I know, even with being part of this, these rules are very heavy. Pro-Lite is not light. It's just a name. Lightwell in Kansas is not light. It's still lighter than what this is. Now the street stock in Kansas is heavier than Lightwell was when we started running out there.
Well,
by far, it's heavy.
What Austin call them? Street mods?
Yeah, well, that's what I kind of glanced over the rules, and I was telling Derek that looks like the 13, 14, 15-ish mod rules.
It's what it is.
I mean, UD's mod rules back then was like what the street stocks are now.
And honestly, that's where it needs to go back to. And I know I've got a lot of equipment, but it's the time and money it's taken to build this quality of car. And there's so many shows. You just simply there's not enough guys building to cover all these shows. But they need to reel it back. And hopefully everybody, not that anybody's going to listen to what I'm saying, but these things need to get reeled back. And we're running a cycle where it happens. But it just seems like we're in a cycle right now where we keep adding to them, where even our street stocks are becoming mods and maybe we're 2 years from it but it always takes that
I don't
drop.
know if there's 2 years of building up to this, son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Time and tanks.
The problem is when it drops back, they try to drop it back to 1973.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got to be Ford to Ford.
Yeah.
No motor swap.
But
80s and newer.
But that street stock class is a great class. But like I said, now it's full cradle without a DP.
Well, we had Austin on here a while back, and that number 9 class. I don't know if you've looked at those
I
rules.
just started kind of studying now.
I'm telling you, he's on to something.
He is.
I mean, especially for this local stuff. But the hell of a set of rules. Gives you a good rear end.
Gives you good parts, but your car ain't so fucking hard.
Yeah.
You're not running a Lightwell car.
Yeah, I mean, you can run your lower cradle and you can run a tranny brace, but it's got to be in stock motor mounts.
And those are a good set of rules. The thing is, and I think all the promoters are fighting that. You can't. You got to get guys back to building to your rule set.
Yeah.
You can't take a car from someplace else. You just can't. You can't get there. And that's not with him. It's with any of them. They're so, as we dial them back, they're so. If it's a factory motor mount and you got a motor mount in your car, chances are you're just going to run it somewhere else because you can't get.
Right.
You don't want to go backwards that far changing a car. But no, I think that's a good rule set.
He's on to something.
I talked to Junior Cardwell a couple days ago, and me and him both agreed that filthy stock class, which was a heavy stock class, but that's one of the best rule sets we've seen around here in 20 years.
We had the cars for it. Like, they were building to it.
Yes.
And you had people building to the bottom end of it. You had people building to the top end of it. And they were
Just
meeting
like
in
you
the
always
middle.
will.
But I'm telling you, every once in a while, those guys that were that mid-build, they were sneaking up in there and cashing a check on it.
They were.
Because the cars were equal. You can only do so much. And they were affordable.
Everything was more affordable. Everything was.
Maybe it'll get back to there
Maybe
sometime.
We'll get back to that.
Maybe after November.
Let's hope.
It didn't cost you $700 to go from here to Paris to run a car.
Right. And we were getting $400 Vicks and, nice ones. And, that's neither here nor there, but it's...
I never thought I'd see the day that a 98 to 02 was bringing $1,100 strip. Yeah. Get out of here. Get the fuck out of here. I'm not doing that.
And north are 14, 15.
That's what I'm saying. Fuck that. Never been that. Hell, I can buy one and drive to work for 2 years.
Yeah. They're past inspection for 1,500.
I mean, but whenever all that kind of took off, everybody was like, "Oh, I'm buying them for $400. I'm selling the cats off of them for $6." I was like, "You're gonna pay for it. Call it what you want. You're gonna pay for it because there's a guy out there that knows that that's happening, and he bought 150 of them, and he's gonna sit on them until you can't find them no more."
Here's what, unfortunately, a lot of the scrappers, they bought the $400 Vicks. They sold $1,200 worth of cats off of it, and they crushed them for $300. That's what happened.
Yeah.
I mean, way too many nice 9802s
Yes.
got. Had they just pulled the,
Converters off of them,
converters
stuck
off
them out
them,
in the
sold them to
field.
a Derby guy for $400 or $500, but nobody wants to get kicked in the dick over $100. If you're in the business of selling cats, you want your money. You don't want to dick around with somebody over $100. You just crush it out and be done with it and move on. And that's what happened to a lot of them, I believe.
Well, and you see a lot of cars go that way.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of those guys there for 3 or 4 years that was posting them on the internet, and they're like, "Well, if you're going to scrap it, I'll just buy it for scrap price." Well, no, because then I got a dick with you. Well, you won't be here tonight. Well, if I want to put it on my trailer, I can take it over to the scrapyard. They'll pull it off right now, pay me, and
And I had money in my pocket on the way home.
Yeah. Not, I'll be there in a week if I can get off work to come get it. No.
Let me ask my wife.
Yeah.
$300 for this car.
Is this available?
Yeah.
Still available? Still available?
I mean, we are sitting next to a dude that has been running, trying to Jew people in their yards since he was like 15, right?
Took him to go do that. I'm blessed to do that.
Think he takes $600 for that $2,500 caddy?
Remember that wagon in Quincy?
Got no big call.
No, he didn't.
Well, we have.
Let's talk about making. I mean, you got to actually let the wagon eat.
Yeah, wish there's more cars there. Maybe could have done a little bit more.
Well, yeah, that would. Again, we talked about it before. A bunch of guys that know each other on the track together. What do you do? I mean,
See who wins.
yeah, I mean that's where you're at with it because everybody speculated that could be a heavy car count.
Yeah.
I mean, I expected 30 cars.
Man, I was a little more. I was hoping for 20, expecting 15, and I really.
That's what I was going.
I thought 15
I got
would be
20
there
in
at
my
least.
head.
And then I got to thinking, like we were talking Iowa, that qualifier, that hurt. I mean, it had to hurt.
Yeah.
It did, but that paid $12,000 to win. They only had 22 cars for $12,000. That paid crazy down. And honestly, we probably would have went up there if Junior wasn't having this, but we saved our cars back for this, and I'm glad we did. But it just those low car count with buddies, and you only do so much, and god dang. I got through that can of beer. I was really thirsty. I wished I could have caught it.
I missed that one.
You missed that?
Yes.
Steven.
Man, it was fun, Rob, watching you. I mean, get plumb wild.
Yeah, sometimes it's fun driving that ragged edge than it is driving to win, which I was doing both. Don't get me wrong, but sometimes I just like to have a good time.
Yeah, it kind of looked like you got bored. I mean, working together over there with Trey, I watched it, and it was almost like you're like, all right, I'm sick of watching you dick with him. It's my turn.
Yeah.
Get out of the way.
I was waiting. Trey was supposed to delete the suspension. I'm like, you know what? He gonna delete this. This guy's good anyway. I mean, the kid's good, and we're running against. I'm like, he gonna delete mine while we're farting with him. I had to find a place to put him.
And then I was laughing and again trying to hold my camera away. Whenever you hit him the second time and he was plumb up on the concrete, and then you backed up and was gonna do it again, and they were running down there and flagging me off of him. I was like, Don brings fucking stick, or he gets to do it. Like, that's how this works. You don't get to just, no, I'm not.
You don't just get to park up on the blocks with your stick up.
No, you can't just do that. It don't work like that.
So that's what I want to ask. You know, when you guys run the local stuff around here, it's both of you, then Ryan, who we're gonna flat out say it. I mean, he said it the other day. That boy can fucking drive.
Who, Ryan?
Ryan.
Yeah.
He can drive.
I told him he's gonna be an issue. Like if he keeps driving like he was. I mean, yeah, he did hurt himself.
I told him.
But I mean, how many? That's the second car he's been in, right?
First
Not counting
car.
the van.
Oh yeah, he drove Kelsey's car at one time.
That's right.
And that thing
I don't know if I called it. I
it.
just felt like a man too. I think.
It was a pile, and he wheeled that thing down.
Yeah.
Yep.
He didn't have very good outcome at Moberly.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the boy can wheel, you know, so now, you know, if you guys go somewhere, there's 3 of you, and usually Ted is 4, and then you can throw, you know, maybe Trey Hammond, and, you know, how do you guys...
I mean, Trey can have 4th.
Yeah. But how does that work, you know, being family and not wanting to hurt Buddy's feelings? Where do you guys draw this line in the sand?
It don't work. You better be.
They get hurt.
You better be able to leave it on the track.
Well, Derek, there's only one winner. And let's face it, losing is not that much fun.
I mean, because we've seen you.
Maybe one of these times you can let me win.
Well, that'd
No,
be great.
he's
Then
working
I
on a
could.
good thing.
Yeah, but like if you win, then like how am I supposed to win?
That was stupid.
He went there.
Well, I mean,
They'll shake
yeah,
and bake.
I'm just saying that buddies know that if they're running around here, they're going to run against each other. And at the end of the day, like Rob said, there's only one winner.
There is. I mean, we've seen them beat the shit out of each other.
Several times.
We're trying to grow out of that. You know, we've come down to, and I'm very fortunate because that's a dream for a lot of guys to go father and son just one time. But we went
A lot.
probably 12, and the first 10 we were junking our cars. And then everybody else is derbying next weekend, and we're building cars, so we're a little more cautious about that.
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute. Hold up.
Something ain't right.
Coming around.
But you know, that's one thing that I've noticed, that when you guys do that stuff, I mean, we witnessed it at California the other night too, because really those were all buddies, and they fucked each other up.
It didn't look like it the way they was running.
No, it didn't. Yeah. You know, and then you guys had to turn around and do the same thing. Poor Ralph and Sean Verona was kind of the odd dudes out.
Yeah, it sucked because
Yeah,
Ralph.
I think they knew that. They knew
They knew it.
they knew what it looked like when they pulled in. Had to.
Sean is he's one of the better drivers you ever beat. Not that I'm not taking anything away from Ralph, but Sean is just a really good driver, and I've been on the track with him a lot, and he's finished higher than me a lot. And it wasn't from taking cars out; it was just from playing the game. He's got good equipment. He sees the track, stays out of trouble, and that's all you got to do. Honestly, to win a derby, you just got to beat one car that won in second place. I mean, and that's not wrong. Everybody, you build your car, you drive your car how you want to. Ted and Trey's philosophy is, if there's 20 cars out there and there's 3 of us, that's 20 we got to beat. So if everybody beats about 7 cars, then we just have this thing knocked out. Well, in reality, that's hard to do that.
Correct.
But hopefully, we like to pride ourselves in taking maybe 2-3 cars a piece out. And there's guys that'll run a year that won't take 2 or 3 cars out. They'll just drag it out, and that's everybody's entitled to drive their car. They built it, they can drive it however they want. But at the end of the day, the fans are showing up to see something. So time to time, I like to give them something to see, something to talk about.
Hey, you were doing good until you caught that tidal wave.
Yeah. Hell was. I was trying to just put the end to it, and they got to put the end to me.
He did tell me.
He wasn't expecting it.
Skyler did tell me that was not planned. He said, I come around the corner and no steering. He said, and there was Rob. And he went, shit.
And I didn't slow down either.
No.
No.
I didn't see the brake lights.
No. I didn't even pump them.
Didn't see no brake lights.
Well, we better let these boys get on with their Labor Day weekend.
Labor Day weekend.
There's still a little bit of that left. There's a good looking pool out there. There's probably some cold beer out there in the shop.
Whole
I know there's
bunch.
some right there.
Whole bunch.
Whole bunch.
That's one thing we don't run out around here. We don't run out of water in the pool. We don't run out of beer in the cooler. Now, Red Bull, sometimes we run out of it.
Yeah, that's usually not a bad thing.
Or we wouldn't have been there as early today. It would have been more this evening.
Yeah.
So, guys, I appreciate you letting us come over and invade your space. We're going to let you get to building. We know we have roughly 30 days. Holy
Plenty
shit.
of time.
Plenty of time, yeah.
Plenty of time.
3-day build.
Yeah.
Well, good luck to you guys. Demo. Hopefully, somebody can get a car done for Gold Rush or a couple cars.
It's possible.
It's possible.
They've got something to choose. Right?
Yeah.
A couple later out there. Stuff back in the weeds. Probably rowdy. All sitting on the ground.
Brought it plumb out.
Back here in the woods. I have to cut a tree out of the center.
That's what rust repair's for.
Yeah, we know about that.
Well, got any last words?
Nope.
Big jump, boys.
Triple B's Tees offer custom shirts and logo designs for all your apparel and merchandise needs, offering a variety of shirts, hats, hoodies, tumblers, and koozies. Triple B's will work with you one-on-one to personalize and perfect your logo. With over 5 years in the business, 20 years in the sport, they live for Demolition Derby.
Chunk and his crew can bring your imagination to realization with zero limitations. So for all your badass tees, choose Triple B's.
Since Justin has been on board with us at Hard Nose, we have figured out how much Broadhead Decals means to the sport of Demolition Derby. His great quality parts are seen from coast to coast and everywhere in between.
But he can do more than just Derby products. Your everyday business may need some pep in its step with new banners or stickers. And just give him an idea and let him run with it. Whether it's business related or just want to look badass in the winner circle, let Broadhead Decals work for you.
We do.